Welcome to Digital Marketing Intelligence Ask the Experts, a live bi-weekly show to help you know what to do and what's new in digital marketing for 2021 and beyond. Ask questions, suggest topics, and grow faster with actionable insights and proven strategies from the world's leading experts. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Digital Marketing Intelligence Ask the Experts. I'm Marissa Morgan, your show host, and also the Business Development Manager at Engage. On behalf of myself and the team at Engage, I want to welcome you to our bi-weekly show. Today's topic is finding out what you're missing when you've done everything the LinkedIn pros have recommended and you're still not getting the LinkedIn business and the leads that you expected. That's what we're going to be talking about today as we broadcast live right now. I'm broadcasting live from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and our guest today is broadcasting live from Sydney, Australia. You'll meet our guest expert in just a moment. She is one of the top 10 LinkedIn professionals right now, helping people get their LinkedIn profiles to be where they want them to be, and that is getting them leads and getting them the business that they expect from LinkedIn. And be sure to stick around. After my guest expert and I have a talk about LinkedIn, we're going to bring you our Engage digital marketing news of the week. And this week, because our news has to do with LinkedIn, I'm actually going to ask our guest to stick around and join in the conversation with me. We'll talk a little bit about that news and the new feature on LinkedIn that you don't want to miss. All right, before we get started and I introduce you to our very special guest, I want to tell you that all of today's valuable information and insights are brought to you by Engage. I think you'll agree that in today's super competitive environment, the key differentiator for all businesses is customer experience. Am I right? Happy customers buy more. They convert faster, and they also remain loyal. So Engage has produced this amazing bi-weekly show, and Engage has free forever software that you and your company can use to grow, to scale, and most importantly, to optimize your customer experience. Here's a little information about what the Engage platform is all about. The Engage platform gives you 25 smart engagement tools that are focused entirely on optimizing customer experience. When you optimize customer experience, you can grow your business faster, right? That's what we all want, and more profitably. So, how do you do that? You're going to use our tools at engage.com, absolutely free, and you're going to provide convenience for your customer by engaging with customers where they are, whether that's on your website or maybe on their mobile devices and social media. You're also going to use our tools to personalize conversations and product recommendations, and that's going to help you build trust with your clients and your prospects. When you convey the belief that you understand and care about your customers' needs and interests, that's when you build trust. Convenience, trust, that's how you optimize the entire customer experience. So make sure after our show that you pop over to engage.com, check out our free forever suite of tools, which includes a inbox, a CRM, tools for automation, 25 plus free tools. Check it out after our show. Okay, and without further ado, I am so excited to introduce today's guest. She is here all the way from Sydney, Australia. Welcome, Miss Karen Tisdell. Karen, I have a beautiful introduction I'd like to give of you before we get into today's talk. If you don't know Karen Tisdell, you need to. Karen Tisdell is an early adopter of LinkedIn, and she recognized the platform's potential when working as a recruiter. Foreseeing the importance of how business leaders are perceived online, Karen began her LinkedIn profile writing business. A decade later, as I mentioned, she is ranked as one of the top 10 independent LinkedIn trainers across Pan Asia, that's Asia Pacific, and has facilitated training for some of the biggest tech companies in Australia. while writing profiles for small business owners and startups. Today, she is here to help you understand what our LinkedIn profile is missing and how to get the business you expect. So, we started a little pre-show conversation, Karen, on the event page. I do have some of the questions that many of you left for Karen on our event page prior to today's show. So, we'll get to some of those questions, but I want to invite you, if you have questions or comments, or we are a global show and you want to share where you're watching from, whether it's this evening in the US or this morning in Australia, please leave those comments and questions in the comment section and we'll get to those live on the air. Welcome to the show, Karen.
Hello. It's so wonderful to be here, everybody. It really is. It's great to talk about LinkedIn. Love to be answering as many questions as I can. So, as we're going through, if you've got any questions, drop them in the chat. So, I love questions. It's a great way of really, adding value to everybody and making sure that everybody's growing business on LinkedIn.
I agree. And I love the format of this live stream show. We're broadcasting right now to LinkedIn Live, and we're also on Facebook and YouTube. If you're watching on LinkedIn Live, though, or Facebook, you can drop us questions. This is all about being interactive. And everybody watching, you right now have a LinkedIn expert here at your disposal. So please drop your comments and your questions in the comment section, and we'll get to those during our show. All right, Karen, let's dive into today's talk. And first, I would love for you to share how you started your career really as a LinkedIn profile writer, because as I mentioned, you originally started as a online recruiter and a recruiter. So tell us how that transition happened.
Yeah, well, I actually started as a recruiter before online even existed. So I was a recruiter. I know. Do you remember that?
You used
So
pen
in
and
the early,
papers when you were doing your recruiting and paper resumes?
and CRMs did not exist, and we had filing cabinets of resumes, like filing cabinets, and we had what we called a Rolodex, which was a little flippy thing that you put business cards in. So a long time ago. LinkedIn, I joined LinkedIn in 2005, and I realized it took me a couple of years, but I realized that I could use LinkedIn not just to search for people to employ and put in front of my clients, but I could actually proactively reverse engineer my business success by searching for clients, searching for prospects. So a lot of people don't realize that the name field, what looks like a search name field in LinkedIn at the very top, it's not just for names. You can type anything in there, or you can just press the enter key and then go to all filters and slice and dice all of the LinkedIn member profiles to find your ideal client market. So I smashed my sales targets. I went on maternity leave in 2009. GFC had hit, 2008, 2009. They were really tough years. And I just thought, a lot of people need LinkedIn profiles. It makes a real difference in terms of attracting clients, and at the time, in terms of attracting job offers as well. So started writing profiles, and it's just grown and grown and grown. Now I don't have much to do with careers at all. My clients really are very much B2B clients, and it's all about using LinkedIn and showing up in order to gain more clients.
Wow. So it's pretty crazy, but your career has really grown and it has spanned going from what is digital, right? To then slowly us all being like, okay, we've got these laptops now, and digital is a word we're using. And now we're full blown into this digital marketing, digital resume era. So it's interesting how much your career has probably grown and changed as technology has grown and changed. And the tools you use now are so different than the tools you were using back then.
And the trends within that, I think one of the questions that we got in the event chat was around how do I promote my product, and I've been thinking on that, last night, and I was thinking a lot of people see LinkedIn as a publishing platform. I can advertise here, and it's not going to cost me anything. I can put out content, and I can get on that soapbox, and I can shout at people, and they're all going to see me, and they're all going to realize how awesome my product is, and they're going to buy it. And so I think a lot of us, we have a muscle memory around must advertise, must advertise, must advertise. And when it doesn't cost anything, it feels even more attractive. That's why Engage is so successful, because it's a free forever platform, where you've got so many tools that don't cost you anything. So you can optimize so much on LinkedIn without paying a single penny. And so people think I'll just advertise. And I think instead we need to really promote our products and promote our services by giving away information. And this is counterintuitive to what we grew up with. We grew up in the era of advertising and billboards and and then when the internet, really took off, email campaigns, I know what we'll do. We'll just keep emailing people until they respond. We'll just keep slamming them. Gary Vaynerchuk has told us we need to be visible everywhere. So I'll just constantly keep in front of people's faces. I think that there is some value in that. Of course, if you're not visible, you're not valuable. If you're not remembered, you're forgotten. But I think we're all fatigued by advertising. Don't you think, Marissa? I think we're all like, oh, really, another advert? I swapped to an Android phone a couple of months ago, and it's amazing because every time I get a call, it tells me if anybody's ever recorded that phone number as being suspected spam. So it comes up, suspected spam. Love that. So I've got so many tools that will enable me to block adverts. And on LinkedIn, adverts don't do very well. So I think the content we need to create to promote our products needs to really add value to others. So we really need to think about giving information and being helpful. And I know you may be thinking, but if people would just see my product, then that is helpful. So we'll just keep promoting the product. But I think instead we need to just really genuinely be helpful. So what are the client's problems, and is there information that you can give them that will help them to alleviate their pain and solve their problems without buying your product? And so and that sounds weird, but you just sort of give lots of ideas away, give lots of information away, be very, very, very helpful. And you can drop in occasionally, sort of, maybe 1 or 2 posts to every 8 or 9. Okay. And my product does this. But 8 or 9 out of your 10 posts on LinkedIn, pieces of content, are all around giving value and giving ideas and giving information, because nobody ever went wrong by being helpful. And so everybody, we live in the era of Google. You've got a problem, you're Googling it. So when you just give information away and you give that away for free, people feel, oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's so interesting. That's the solution, and they start going down that tunnel. So you're starting to reel them in with information. Is that making sense?
I'm sure everybody at home is going, wow, that makes complete sense. Because if you really think about what Karen's saying, she is saying, and you are saying, build the relationship, right? When you start showing a customer or a prospect that you care about their needs, right? That you can solve a pain problem and that you want to, and it's not just about selling your product, well, then you start to build a relationship. The relationship leads to some loyalty. And also, if you're constantly posting information, wanting to be helpful, wanting to be valuable, that means you're also showing up like you just shared, Karen. And when you show up, then you can be discovered or people will remember you. You have to show up. That's definitely part of it.
And people will comment on your posts and they'll say, oh, that's really interesting. What about that? So we need to think of content as not standing on a soapbox and talking at people, but being in the town hall, being, in the room, in the town square and talking with people. So we need to think of it as a two-way conversation, because when we get lots of likes and especially comments on our post, that's when our post gets seen by even more people. So if you just scroll through your newsfeed, you'll often see a post that will say above it, so-and-so that has commented on this. So the more people are commenting, the more it gets sent out to more people. So you really want to be just super, super, super helpful, give lots of ideas, treat it as a conversation and show that you are listening. We all want to be seen and we all want to be listened to. And so often it's really hard to listen to your clients. I've struggled with this myself. really struggled with this in terms of writing my own website, because it was hard for me to really hear what my clients needed when they're looking for a LinkedIn profile writer, because I'm so busy thinking about what I want to sell as opposed to what people are asking for. So creating posts that answer people's questions shows that you're listening, and that's huge. Now we've got a question as well, haven't we? You've probably had a chance to read that.
We do. And
I'm trying to sort of speed read as once, but I
No.
love these questions, so keep them coming,
Don't
people.
worry. I'm going to pop Alexis. I see your question. I'm going to pop that up in just one moment. But Karen, before we get to Alexis's question, you just started touching on understanding and listening to your clients' needs. So I am curious, as a LinkedIn profile writer, what is the number one problem that your clients are hoping for you to solve? Is it to show up? For them to show up, for them to get more leads, have more clients, build their company? Is there one big problem that they're all coming to you saying, help me, I don't know how to do this?
I think there are two. I think there's one big thing, which is, how do I get clients? I've got a lot of friends on platform, but how do I convert them to clients? How do I take that relationship into a sales opportunity? So I think that's one big thing. And the other one are people who just think, I don't have time for LinkedIn. I haven't played here often enough, and I don't really understand it all, because LinkedIn, when I started using it in 2005, it was just a place to get a job. So it's where you uploaded a resume.
Right.
And it then sort of, if we think of that as a little beachside shack, it then went, oh, we could be a publishing platform. So it went sort of, and build another room on its shack, if you like. And then it went, oh, and we could also enable people to do this and that, So, you can also create your own resume, and you can have interview prep, and we'll do this job filters, and we'll do all these other tools. So it then kept adding on all of these rooms. So I think the second problem that I hear a lot is people going, I don't have time to learn how to create an amazing profile that generates business, that converts clients once they're looking at my profile. Mm-hmm. And I don't have time to learn how to create content and how to reach out to people. How do I turn those contacts into clients? And so rather than me sort of watch hundreds of webinars, can I just go to you and can you just tell me what I should do? And so I think that's
Karen, you're like, take a number. There's so many people, right, that need your help. So it's wonderful. This is wonderful. Well, I have a few questions I want to make sure we get to during our talk today, but let's start with Alexis's question, because we really appreciate you showing up for our talk today, being here, Alexis. If you are watching right now, please drop us a comment in the comment section. Let us know where you're watching from. I'm live right now from Minneapolis, Minnesota, just outside, actually, in a little city called Wayzata. And Karen is joining us today from Sydney. Are you right in Sydney, Australia?
I am. About Beautiful. 20 minutes from the city. So yeah,
wonderful.
Lucky me.
Alexis, let's get to your question, and then please also let us know where you're watching from. So Alexis says, as an online education trainer provider, I know my ideal clients are using LinkedIn. I focus a lot of my attention on giving value via my platform, which is what Karen just touched upon. However, what suggestions would you give in outreach to them using this platform?
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't build enough, and I'm sure, Alexis, you're doing this, but I don't think a lot of people build enough personal touch points with their clients. Like often we think we are, and yet we could make them even more personal. So instead of never, ever, ever send an invite to connect, which is just connect, personalize that invitation to connect. And in that personalization of that invitation, focus on the other person, mention what you do and your phone number, and especially your email address. You may even want to include in there your website, because you want to constantly be as accessible as possible. When somebody accepts your invitation to connect, or you accept their invitation to connect, I think it's really, really, really powerful to leave a voice message for people. And I think this is not done enough. So we can, when we write a sales pitch, it looks like a sales pitch. Hi, thanks for accepting my invitation to connect. I run this education platform and we do this and that. Let me know if you're ever interested. That feels like a sales pitch. But if you were to do that in a voice message, it would not feel like a sales pitch if you preface it a little bit more. So where have I put my phone? So if you just get out your mobile phone, you can only leave a voice message on mobile. If you just get out your mobile phone, click on the app. It's not going to work unless it's in the app. And where's Marissa? I know you're in here somewhere. Oh, there you are. Okay, so I'm clicking on Marissa's profile, and you can see, oh, she's even saying, I think you'll be amazing. You can see on here that little microphone. See that little microphone next to write a message? When you click on that microphone, it'll come up with a blue dot. See the blue dot? When you depress that, that's going to start recording a message. And then, your dog starts barking, so you just swipe it to the left. So what I always do, and it generates so much business, both for me and especially for my clients, is as often as possible when you're trying to sell, do so in a voice message. Now, you can do that the first time you connect with somebody, and then you need to give value. So send them a podcast link, send them an article, be helpful. And then after a couple of months, leave them another message that's a bit salesy. Can I just show you how I do this?
Absolutely.
So I know Marissa's had heaps of media training. I have a voice coach. I'm trying to fix that Australian nasal accent. I don't know how it's working for me. My voice coach said, take a deep breath in and speak on the out breath. Really important. Otherwise, the first thing your listener hears is you going, which kind of sounds creepy and weird. So take a deep breath in and speak on the out breath while depressing the button. So deep breath in. Hi, Marissa. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation to connect. I really appreciate it. Look, I can see that you looked at my profile as well. Now, I'm in the education software business. If there is anything at all I can help you with, please let me know. I'm also in the city most Fridays. So if you'd ever like to catch up for a coffee, I'd love to do that. I hope you're keeping well. I know it's been a really crazy year. And really tough for a lot of people. So I hope you're doing well. And thanks again for accepting my invitation to connect. Cheers. So I've sent that to Marissa. And I know it's sent when it's come up with a little, see that little blue bar there?
I just got a notification. Hold on. Let's see. I got a notification that I now have a message, and it says Karen Tisdell sent me a message. Shall we listen to it?
Oh, thank you, Karen. Thank you.
Hold on. I'm going to push play. Oh.
Just switch on the little triangle on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Maybe it's because it's still uploading all the way from Sydney, Australia. Maybe I pushed it too many times. Oh, you know why? Because speaker's not on. That's why.
Because you switched it to silent. So much for accepting my invitation to connect. I really appreciate it. Look, I can see that you looked at my profile as well. Now, I'm in the education software business.
That is so amazing, because if there's something that's going to immediately give your branding, your message, your connecting a personal human touch, it's your voice. So I think that's an amazing tip.
And it can't be automated. So, while I love automation and it can save so much time, why wouldn't you automate if you can? This cannot be automated. I know it's a real voice, and you can imbue so much personality in that. And studies have also shown that voice is highly trusted. Voice is trusted more than physical images, which I just thought, and I remember reading this and just thinking, that's insane. I trust what I see. Sure, I was born in the early 1970s, but I trust what I see. Then I was sitting with my children. They're watching Avatar, and I'm like, isn't it amazing? This is when they were a little bit younger. And I'm like, this is not real. And they're like, yeah, duh, mum. They have learned to be suspicious of everything they see. But yet, when we get in our car and we want to go somewhere, we just say, I want to go here. We talk to Siri, we talk to Google Assistant. So we really trust voices, and voices become one of the most trusted medium. So leaving a voice message, very powerful, and you can pitch in a way that you can't in a message. Just make sure that you do start and end with a thank you. I think that COVID's given us a bit to talk about in there. You can say, I hope you're doing all right. So... you can really add a lot of warmth, which really connects people.
Well, Karen commented that he started to voicemail on LinkedIn a lot, and it's one of the best tips he's received from you.
It really works.
Thank you so much, Kieran, for leaving us that lovely comment. Well, I have so many questions I want to get to. So let's kind of dive in to one that is a little bit broad, but I think you started to touch on it a little bit, Karen. One of the gentlemen in the event asked how he could build a strong network using LinkedIn. Now, we all know, especially now that Karen has shared really that she believes this to be true as well, that LinkedIn really has three purposes, right? There's the look for a job, career generating idea, purpose of LinkedIn. Then there's the idea that you are going to generate leads on LinkedIn, right? We want people to go from a connection to potentially a client. And then really the third purpose for LinkedIn is that educational side of LinkedIn, furthering your skills, making yourself more marketable. So
Mm.
when this gentleman dropped that question in, um, right away, I thought, well, what does building a strong network mean? Because it really depends what your purpose is, right? So let's just talk a little bit, Karen, about ways to build your LinkedIn network and how that might be different, right? Based on your purpose, and maybe a few tips you can share with us on how, and I
Mm.
know you're really good at this, how to transition someone even from being a stranger, right, to being a connection, to then either being a recruiter that hires you or potentially a client or a lead. What are some tips you can share with us?
Absolutely. I love that you mentioned purpose. I think it's so important to really be crystal clear on who you're serving, crystal clear. So have an avatar. Who is your ideal client? And know who services those clients. So I love, the idea of ditch the niche, because it's very hard to sort of think, what's my niche, or niche, as you say in the US. Ditch the niche and pick a pond. So think, what pond do I play in? Where are my fish? What pond are they in? And if you've got a pond that's connected to other ponds, just to run with my metaphor, and you're thinking of what are the waterways, what are the fish that swim in multiple ponds? Who are your super connectors who service the same clients as you? And so connecting to them. On LinkedIn, in the search bar, at the top left-hand corner next to the home key, you've got a search bar. You can put keywords in there, or you can press enter. Just press enter into the space bar and then click on people and all filters. And you can search for, I really want to find somebody who's in Singapore, and my ideal client's in Singapore, and maybe they're a director, and maybe they work in the technology industry. And I don't want people I've already met with in Singapore. So I'm not clicking on my first network. Those are people you're already connected to. I'm going to click on my second network. Who knows people I know? Because people are always more likely to accept your invitation to connect when they can see that you play in the same pond as them, when they can see that you've got a lot of connections in common. So
That's a great
yeah.
tip. I just want to interrupt you for a moment because people may just be joining us. It's dinner time here in the US and it's early morning in Australia. So I just want to welcome you to Digital Marketing Intelligence Ask the Experts. And today our expert joining us is Karen Tisdell, who is a amazing and incredible LinkedIn profile writer. And she's really here kind of coaching us all through understanding how we're building our LinkedIn network, how we're connecting with people, and why it's so important to have a purpose that is crystal clear as we go along in that journey, right? To build the connection for our purpose. And Karen, you were just sharing that it's so important to consider maybe not niching ourselves or niching ourselves so much, but more considering that we're in a pond, right? And we want
Pick a pond.
pick a pond, pick a pond
Pick a
that you're in.
pond.
But you just shared with us, and I'm only wanting to repeat it because it was brilliant, this incredible tip for connecting, which is to focus on connecting with people that you are essentially one connection away from potentially, because people will trust the relationship that is already there with you and the mutual connection. And it's almost like people want to play with people they know or people that they like, or you're more
Yeah.
likely to trust somebody who comes to your business as a referral than a random person. So that's a
Absolutely.
really great tip.
Absolutely. So I went to a wedding a few years ago, on the other side of Australia, and people had travelled from all over the world and to attend this wedding. And I loved all of the guests at the wedding. I just love them. I just felt like I made so many best friends. And I thought, well, I guess it's not surprising that I love all my best friends' friends, So when you see you've got a lot of people in common, you're more likely to share values with those people. And so counterintuitively, we often think I'm desperate for business on LinkedIn. I've heard what Karen said about identifying who your ideal clients are. I've got an idea in mind and I know who services them. I'm using the search features on LinkedIn and I'm going to go straight for the biggest client that I really desperately want. If you haven't used outreach on LinkedIn, if you haven't reached out with personalized messages before and then followed up with a voice message and then followed up with here's a podcast link. Podcast links are very powerful because they feel very personalized. I was thinking of you the other day while I was listening to this podcast and I thought you would enjoy it too. Boom. And then you go and find lots of other clients that are like that and you go cut, paste, cut, paste, cut, paste. Sorry, Kieran. But you do. And so you're building those touch points by giving. You might think, I'll reach out straight to that client I really want. But if you're new to outreach, I would actually start with the clients that are at the bottom of your list so that you can practice that leaving voice messages. You can write something that you think, oh, that's a really nice way to personalize my invitation to connect. But after you've done a couple of them, cut, paste, tweak, cut, paste, tweak, cut, paste, tweak, you think, oh, actually, these words look better. Yes, that's going to get me the sale. So sort of counterintuitively, don't go straight for the A-list clients that you want. Start with the C or B list, and especially start with those big connectors who know a lot of people and who swim in a lot of different ponds in your ecosystem.
My acting teacher always used to say, the more you do, the better you get. So I do enjoy and appreciate that tip to maybe not start with the big dogs when you're first outreaching and you're giving your voicemails or voice memos a try, because it's going to take you a little time to get comfortable in this new digital world, exploring digital ways to be outreaching and to be touching your ideal clients. So great tip there.
That also enables you to sense test what works, If you're leaving voice messages and you're getting messages back going, oh, it's really lovely to hear a human voice, thank you so much. I really appreciate being part of your network. If you're hearing those messages back, then you're hitting the right notes. If you're not, then you need to tweak it up a little bit. Maybe I could start by really emphasizing more how grateful I am that you've included me in your network. So what do I need to change? So it allows you to test it. And if LinkedIn gives you really great data in terms of, are your posts working? You can see when you're getting clients come through. So, test everything, split test everything.
Really great advice. Thank you so much, Karen. Kieran has a question. Karen has a question that I think fits right into what we're talking about right now. And that is, what are your top 1 or 2 tips for startups or unknown brands when creating corporate profiles? Great question, Kieran. Or outreach strategies on LinkedIn for the first time.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Karen.
I think a lot of people struggle with that because we all, especially, put a lot of work and effort, or many of us aren't sure how. And so we turn to someone like you, but we're working so hard on our personal profiles. And we feel like our business or company pages are not getting as much love and they're harder to promote organically. So I just think this is a really good question.
Yeah.
So thank you, Karen.
Yeah. I think that I don't like company posts. I do think it's really crucial to set up a company page, which anybody can do so by, when you're on your personal page, just look at the ribbon across the top and you'll see a tab called work. Click on work, and all the way at the bottom, there is set up a company page. So fill that out and make sure that you upload a logo. It's not very obvious where to upload a logo, and it amazes me how many people have a company page and they've not attached a logo to it. So make sure you've attached a logo. Then go and talk to all of your employees and make sure that they have connected correctly to the company page so that when everybody looks at their profile, they can see that company logo there. Then write a little description on what the company does, because a lot of your employees may be uncomfortable posting from the page And if you're a startup, you may have people who are not employees, but maybe they're casuals or they're contractors. So you can talk to these people and say, look, we really love what you do. We'd love you to be a part of us. We notice you haven't connected to the company page. Do you mind doing so? Is that okay? We don't own your LinkedIn profile, but we'd love it if you could just amplify our brand, and we'll amplify you. You have a birthday, you celebrate a work anniversary, you do something great, we're going to post about you on LinkedIn. So we will amplify you. Could you please amplify us by talking about what you're doing here, but also by making sure that you're connected correctly to the company page. In your experience section, you've loaded up a little description, just needs to only be 180, 200 words. You've got a lot more in there to fit in, but just even 100 words that just describe what the company does and that has company details. Yes, people can find those details by clicking on company and then clicking on contact, but I think you just want to be as accessible as possible. And then provide all of your employees with a banner. So sitting behind your profile photo, you've got space there to put a logo and to put something that visually describes what it is your company does. So make sure that you've rolled that out to all of your employees. You can post from your company page. So posting from your company page will ensure that people sort of are seeing that brand, but don't expect a lot of traction from your company page. It's much easier to get traction from personal pages. This is social media. So we need to be social by being people. So amplify your employees, give them a voice, encourage them to be posting, and do so yourself as well. Showcasing your people, showcasing what you're doing. Co-collaborating with your clients. If you're a startup, you're probably, reaching out to different people and going, can we collaborate here? Can we collaborate there? Champion them on LinkedIn and ask them to champion you. Think about doing a LinkedIn Live together. Think about doing a podcast interview together. Cut all of those pieces of media and stick them all over LinkedIn so that people are constantly being reminded of your brand.
Great tip. And I think it's important too for you to really encourage your employees to also be liking and commenting on the company posts because, like you said,
Hugely.
Karen, a lot of the company posting and content doesn't always get the same traction as personal posts and things like that. So when the company or the employees are also engaged, that shows the culture of the company, which leaves an
Mm.
impression on others as well when they do visit the company page, right?
Absolutely. But amplifying your employees, I think, is so
Yeah.
important, giving them a voice. I remember being at an event years ago, and there was a chap there, Christian Stevens, who plays really big in real estate. And um, somebody was standing near us and they were looking at him with just great big sort of adoration in their eyes, like, oh, it's Christian, and I was like, do you want to talk to Christian? He's like, oh, hi, Christian. Yeah, I see what you're doing, in real estate and your company's so amazing. Christian, quite dry, but personable, turns to the guy and says, yeah, my company's pretty cool. Why did you think my company was pretty cool? He's like, because they're allowing you to post, like you're so vocal on LinkedIn. So what a cool company you must work for, because you can be yourself there. Oh, light bulb moment, right? I mean, amazing. So don't think, oh, but if we amplify our employees and we make them look great, they'll leave, because that's a little bit like, that old, but what if we train our employees, and they leave? Well, what if we don't train them and they stay? If you just give them a voice, you will have talent attraction, you will have more clients. We're choosing to buy products from companies that feel like good companies, that share our
Mhm.
values, that are just good, decent companies doing the right thing. So when we see a company that says, hey, it's our employee's birthday, and our employee's now been with us for 2 years or 3 years, and whoa, look what we've just done, we're a startup and we've just, made it to our first round of funding, or we've done this or we've done that. You really want to champion the team's success, not in a look at me way, but in a look at them. Isn't our team great? So if you can get everybody all championing each other and championing your clients and co-creating and thinking about how you can add value to your audience, what their questions are, then you both win.
I love this. And you've got me here just like smiling from ear to ear because who wouldn't? What employee wouldn't love the spotlight on them through the company page just for a minute? I am now recalling that there is a company in town in the production world, and just recently I think that that was kind of their goal for the month of, we're in May, in April. It seemed like every 2 days throughout April, they gave a call out like, hey, meet our director of marketing, or hey, meet our,
Yeah.
producer, and this is this. And it was kind of neat because they had a special post, and they obviously just changed out the photo and a little bit of the words, but they gave a nice blurb. And I think that they were a startup in town. And so as they were really getting their team together, they wanted to kind of introduce the team to the world. And I kind of thought the
Mm.
same thing that person thought at that party that you just shared, is kind of like, wow, what a cool company.
What a
They're
cool
so hip.
company.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw, and I really wish I'd snipped it, but I saw somebody who created a post when one of her staff was leaving. And she
Oh,
had a picture of this guy with his man bag over his shoulder, and he was standing at reception about to walk out. And I think he was even carrying a box of stuff, like the sort of thing that
oh,
normally makes
right
your
in a
heart.
commercial. Yeah.
Yeah, and it normally makes your heart lurch. You're like, "Oh my gosh, he's leaving the company. Oh, we won't talk about that," kind of thing. Had the company He was at reception, had the company brand behind him. She'd taken a photo of him and put it on LinkedIn saying, "He's leaving us." And I just want to say how amazing he is, and I just want to list some of the achievements he's made here, and I just want to
Oh,
wish him all the best. He's gone to pursue different pastures, but we've loved having him here. That just spoke volumes about the company. And I love your point there, Marissa, about how you said, it's great to sort of see different employees. And what you made me envision is this idea of unboxing. We've seen a lot of companies in the last few
mm.
months start to show behind the scenes, and we've seen people opening parcels on social media. Look what I've got, and they're unboxing what they've just received. So I think we need to think about unboxing our employees. How do we show behind the scenes? How do we coax them into the spotlight and say, we're proud of you. We want the world to see you. We want to show, you're a HR manager, you're an accountant. We can't survive without our accounting. So we want to talk about how you love numbers. We want to talk about who you are and what you care about and what your interests are. We want to do a human piece so that you've got that behind the scenes feel, you've got that unboxing feel, you've got that we know your people, we know what you stand for, we know you care.
That's exactly it. That helps build customer trust. That helps a customer prospect feel more like they know you. And if they feel that your values are in sync with their values, boom, there's how you
Yeah,
take a connection and turn it into a lead. Very nice. I like
absolutely.
this.
So
Well,
you want to have the logo and you want to have the brand visible, but you need to push the people in front of the brand. And again, that seems counterintuitive. We're like, but I want, as a startup, to Kieran's question, as a startup, I want everybody to see our logo and recognize us.
right.
But we're bombarded with logos. If you push logos in people's faces, they will just switch off. They will just try desperately to search for an ad blocker to not see you. So make sure that, if you've got a picture of your employee, it just happens to be in front of your logo.
Very
Make
good.
sure that, if you're going to do a happy birthday, that you've got a frame that, your graphic designer or somebody on Airtask has created a little frame that you can put that picture in. And the frame has got,
Your
we've got
logo
produced
in
by
there.
Engage in the
Yeah.
corner. Put your logo everywhere. So important.
Very nice. Kieran, excuse me, says, thank you, Karen. That's so true. Nothing like human and people empowerment. And I agree. Kieran, thank you so much for that great question. Okay, I've got another question for you, Karen, from Marcelo, who's just recently started watching our series. So thank you and welcome back, Marcelo. He says, Karen, after sending a message, how long do you recommend for us to send an additional message again? Do you have a rule? Great
That's a
question, Marcelo. Thank
great
you.
top question. Top question.
Mm.
I think it's about 2 months. So I come from the era of sales. My background's in sales. Many, many years ago, in the days before computer, I used to sell World Book encyclopedias. I don't know if anybody knows what they are. So I used to go door knocking, selling things. Yeah,
I
you remember
wanted
what
one.
they
I
are?
didn't get one.
So, then I
Oh,
moved to recruitment. And we used to have a rule then that you had to leave it 3 months to follow up with people. People have got short attention spans. So I think it's best to leave it about 7 to 8 weeks. I don't think you would want to do it for sooner than that, because some people don't check in on LinkedIn all the time. So if they're only checking in on LinkedIn once a week or once a fortnight, and you're leaving it sort of 2 weeks or a month, hi, I sent you a message, you didn't respond, boom, then that feels like you're being too on top. So you really want to leave it 7 to 8 weeks, which is really hard to do, I know, because you just think, I really want the sale, I really want the sale. But you really want to leave it about 8 weeks, because you don't want to bombard people. I also think you want to keep any questions that you're asking there open. So you really want to be, especially if you're creating content, you want to be asking questions, you want to be having a conversation, but you also don't want to feel like you're pressuring people. Or if you're writing a message, you can ask a message in a voice thing, like, I hope you're doing all right, let me know, or whatever, but try and make those questions somewhat rhetorical. A question you might leave is, thank you for your invitation to connect, I'm wondering how you found me, or what made you reach out, I'd love to know. So you can say that in a voice message, but when you write it, you don't want to feel like you're making demands on people's time. So instead, keep your questions somewhat rhetoric, and make sure that you are giving. Focus on, every 8 weeks, I'm going to send you a podcast link. I'm going to send you an article that's of interest. I'm going to focus on giving. I'm going to introduce you to somebody else. So a lot of people don't realize that on LinkedIn, you can add multiple recipients. It's like up to 50. You don't want to do that many, but you can add, I could introduce Marcelo and Karen if I was connected to both of them. They don't have to be connected to each other. I'm connected to both of them, and I can send an invite to Karen, and then in that same where I type people's names in, I can add in Marcelo's name. And then I can just say, hi, Marcelo and Karen, I just thought you should both connect and talk. I don't know what might come of it, but I just see that you've got an interest in common. You both work in technology. Over to the two of you. So facilitating introductions and focusing on how you can be helpful to people by introducing them to other key people of influence in your network is really helpful, but try not to do it too soon.
Great answer. And Marcelo, thank you again for tuning in. Thank you for interacting with us. And that was a really great question. Another viewer just wanted to pop in and say hello from Connecticut. Thank you so much, Corrine, for joining our interactive live stream tonight. Well, Karen, I feel like we're just touching the tip of the iceberg, but my golly, I mean, we're almost out of time. So normally I would thank you for being here, and I would actually step in and share our Engaged digital marketing news of the week by myself. But this week, I decided that having you join me while I shared our Engaged digital marketing news of the week was actually a great idea, because I would love to hear what you think about our little piece of news. And I believe you may be using this new feature on LinkedIn. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to transition into our digital marketing news of the week. And I'm going to have you stay here and join me for that. Let's pop up our ticker.
I hope it's a tool I'm all over.
I think you'll be good. So, or at least I think you'll have some feedback on it. So today's digital marketing news of the week is news about a new mode on LinkedIn called the creator mode. So I'm going to read a little bit about that for those of you who are not familiar. And then please, if you have comments, if you're currently using the creator mode, leave us a note in the comment section. But Karen, I'd love to hear you weigh in. So our Engaged digital marketing news this week is all about this LinkedIn creator mode. So LinkedIn creators are members who regularly, I always have a hard time saying that word, regularly share content with their professional community to demonstrate their expertise, to ignite conversations about ideas and experiences, and also build communities, or ponds, as Karen likes to say, around common interests. So if you create content regularly and want to build your following on LinkedIn, creator mode might be the right fit for you. Creator mode is a new setting on LinkedIn just created as part of their recent profile updates. You'll find in your profile dashboard that you're able, when you turn on creator mode, to more prominently display your content and encourage others to follow you. What creator mode does for LinkedIn creators? Well, first, it will help you grow your following. 50% of member follows right now come from profile views. So if you're creating more and it's visible in the up, kind of high section on your profile, you're more likely to get more profile views and then essentially more followers. With creator mode, your primary profile action button changes from connect to follow, which can help you grow your audience. The option to connect is still available, and you can find that under the more button. So now you're creating content. It will be showcased above your experience and your about sections. You can also add hashtags to your profile intro so that potential followers can easily see what topics you post most about. Creator mode will also make members eligible for search and discovery results downstream, helping creators get discovered and grow their audience. So, that's a little bit about this new creator mode. And Karen, I'd love for you to weigh in. Is this something that you're using? Is it something you've heard of? Tell us what you think.
Yes. So I did a webinar on creator mode and also on the new cover story feature, which is a separate feature where a video plays in your profile photo section. I hope everybody will have a look at mine. Because I've actually got Sydney Opera House behind mine. Not that my words are really great. So creator mode is not for everybody. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Yes, Marissa, it's really exciting, but I see everybody switching on creator mode because they can. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So when you switch on creator mode, it will enable you to get more followers more quickly, because a lot of people don't want to reach out and to connect with you. So Marcelo may be thinking, Karen's great, but, I don't know if I really want to connect with her. Like, I haven't met her. So, I'm happy to follow her, but I don't really want to connect with her. I don't really want her in my tribe. I don't want everybody to see that I know this random Karen in Australia. So people are more likely to follow than they are to connect. Connect feels like, oh my gosh, this is a friend. Maybe it's an endorsement of their character. It's not, but people imagine that it is. And so people can often be a bit like, oh, I just don't know if I want to be as committed to somebody to connect them. And then if I connect with them, then they'll start sending me sales messages. Nobody wants hardcore sales messages. They want relationship building. They want people who will give them information. So I'm not going to connect with them so they can't spam me. I'm just going to follow them. So it enables you to grow followers really quickly because, as you said, it switches that connect button to follow. That is a big problem for most people, because if you don't proactively look at who's looked at your profile and send invitations to connect, or look who's followed you, but I tend to look at who's looked at my profile, because a lot of people will just click connect, or follow, without having actually looked at my profile. So they're not really interested. They're just going half-heartedly, oh yeah, that looks all right, I'll just click follow. So that's all right, they can follow me. But if they've looked at my profile, they're probably somewhere along the buying journey. They've thought, that's interesting. What she's doing is interesting. I don't need it now, but I might do it sometime in the future, or I might know somebody who does. So if somebody's looked at your profile, you need to be proactive in reaching out and saying, I noticed you looked at my profile. Would you like to connect here? If you cannot make a habit of that, I would not switch on creator mode, because when you switch on creator mode, your number of connections and followers will start to create a gap instead of them being the same, because when you connect with somebody, they're automatically following you, which means they're going to see your content in their newsfeed. But when you connect with them, when they're following you and you've got follow first, you've got the creator mode set, that gap's going to start appearing. So your connections are here and your followers are here. Great to have lots of followers, like, whoa, look at me, I'm so famous. I've got thousands of people who are following me. Yeah, but can you actually reach out and direct message them? Can you sell to them? Can you introduce them to anybody? No. So yeah, it's a great vanity metric. It's great at, oh, look at me, I must be amazing because I have, 15,000 or 30,000 followers. No, that doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't. We have to remember why we're here. We're here to be educated, inspired, and to make money. So come back to that purpose. Why are you here? If you're not going to be proactive in looking all the time at who's looked at your profile and sending invitations to connect, it could really damage you to have content creators switched on. Sorry to burst everybody's bubble. I know everybody's so excited about it. Oh, look at me. I'm collecting so many followers. But these are people that you can't direct message. So yeah, so just use it with caution. Think about it. It does also show how many people are following you. So it moves your followers numbers higher up. So before it just had, 500 plus. Now, if you've got content creator switched on, it moves that up. But again, that's encouraging that vanity metric. I must be a worthwhile human because I have 30,000 followers. Well, so what? If it's not translating into real business, it's a vanity metric. Bit harsh.
Yes and no. You know what? It is an excellent perspective because people, as we're just talking about today, people are on LinkedIn for different purposes. And I do think that LinkedIn is different than Instagram. LinkedIn is different than Facebook, but I think it's also fair to say that there are people who maybe are on Instagram who want to transition to a place like LinkedIn because their purpose might be shifting. So, I think for some people who are content creators, it may work for them to be broadening their, social media, internet footprint. Is that fair to say?
I still disagree respectfully, because I just think, what's the point of fame? What's the point of fame if you can't monetize it? So I think, we all feel like there's a lot of people out there who are content creators who are famous on LinkedIn and they're so famous on Instagram, and they've got hundreds and thousands of followers. So they're moving across to LinkedIn and they're building the same thing. But we don't really want to admire people from a distance. We really want to build relationships, and you really want to have customers are only valuable when you can speak to them and when you can listen to them. So when somebody's following you, you can't see their content. They can see yours, which is great, but you can't see theirs. So if they're a prospect of yours, you need to be commenting on their content. You need to be direct messaging, with a podcast episode or with a voice message. You need to be building those relationships. So we feel like everybody's famous, but actually it's quite a small number of people, and it's an even smaller number of people who are actually making money from that. So I think if you want to be famous and you want to have lots of friends, get out and start talking to your neighbors. But if you want to make money, then we need to build relationships here. And we need to build relationships online, just like we would offline, focused on what we can giving. So I think content creator mode is great. And I have it on myself. But once a week, every week, while I'm at my daughter's golf lessons, I'm looking at who's looked at my profile, and I'm using an app called Text Expander to just type in two characters, and it automatically populates it with a, "Hi, I noticed you looked at my profile." I'm giving away all my secrets here. "Hi, I noticed you looked at my profile. I can see that you do," and then I have to insert a word, "hope you'd be open to connecting here," and then my name and phone number. So you have to have a weekly habit of doing that. And if you're on LinkedIn free, you don't get to see all of the people who's looked at your profile. So on premium you do, but on free you don't. So that can be another barrier for people.
Wonderful, Karen. You are a wealth of knowledge. I am so appreciative that you took some time out of your busy day. I know you just dropped the kids off at school. You are a busy woman. So thank you so much for connecting with myself and also connecting with the team at Engage, and for making time to come on our show and share your incredible insights. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. I really appreciate being here, and I hope it's been helpful for everybody.
Oh my gosh, so many great questions. I want to thank you all so much for joining us. Karen, don't go anywhere. I'm going to pop you out of the live stream, but hang out in the studio. I want to talk to you before you go. Thank you again so much. And before we do that, though, if our audience wants to connect with you, Miss Karen Tisdell, is LinkedIn the best place to do it?
Yes, you can, absolutely. And as Marissa said, because I do have content creator mode switched on, if you want to send me an invitation, you need to click on the more button and just let me know that you watch the show. Just put in, to the personalize your invite just by clicking on more, then connect, then add note, and just write the word engage, just so that I know where you came from. So fantastic.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
Karen, thank you so much. Thank you so, so much. I don't have mine on, just to share personally, I don't have mine on creator, but recently I thought it was best to change from the connect button to having the follow button. But now, after listening to what you were saying and also to what somebody else was saying earlier this week, I realized that for me personally, that is not going to help my purpose and my goal, because I want to forge those genuine connections and be able to see, if people want to follow me, I want to know what they're posting. And the fact that you don't get to see that if people are following you only, I don't like
Mm.
that. So I'll be switching mine off after the show
Just
myself.
something to think about, or be
Yeah,
proactive in reaching out to people. Something to think
absolutely.
about.
Thank you again so much,
Thank
Karen.
you.
Everybody, it's been an amazing week this week. Two wonderful guests and so many amazing tips and insights. I really do hope that you find our weekly, or I should say bi-weekly show helpful, insightful for you. If you'd like to know more about Engage, or you'd like to keep updated on all of our current and upcoming shows, make sure you go to linkedin.com and visit our LinkedIn company page. And there you can also connect, as we just learned today, with some of the other employees at LinkedIn. And you can know all about what our company does, which is provide an exceptional platform with 25 plus free forever tools to help you optimize your customer experience, to help your company grow and scale. So make sure you connect and follow LinkedIn Engage, the company page. And I do want to share a few more other comments that just came in. And Karen, I know you can hear them. So Marcelo says, very happy to watch this live, always learning to be able to share and add value to my relationship network. Thanks, Marissa, for the exceptional conduct of the interview, Steve for promoting these events, and thanks, Karen, for the great tips and insights. Marcelo, thank you so much. And Marcelo is watching from Brazil, a country I hope to visit someday soon. Okay, everybody, that is all for today. If you have topic suggestions you would love for us to ask the experts, or perhaps you'd like to know more about Engage and would like a free demonstration of our platform, you can email me at marissa.m@engage.com, and you can connect with me. It will say connect after I get off this show. Right now it says follow, but it will say connect. Connect with me as well on LinkedIn, and be sure to go and connect with our guest today, Karen Tisdell, as well. Join us next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Our guest expert will share how to create a high demand coaching and consulting business in 6 weeks or less on LinkedIn. Is that doable? Well, she's going to share tips on how to do that. So tune in next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time for our next biweekly show. In the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful and blessed weekend, and I hope to see you all next week. Don't forget to connect on LinkedIn with Engage, with Karen Tisdale, and also with myself, Marissa Morgan. We'll see you all soon.